We'll do it live. Fuck it.
And welcome to another episode of Business Party Podcast on this Tuesday edition. How are you doing, Jackie?
I'm doing good. It feels like time is flying.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know we got late.
I mean,
we got late into this month pretty fucking fast.
I know, it's weird. It like all of a sudden I'm just like, oh, there's only like 2.5 weeks left of September. 3 weeks left of September.
Yeah, I know October's creeping up pretty fast, and I've already been asking, but about to start doing the early Christmas deal for my kids and stuff. Buy what I can now and just keep putting this shit away.
Absolutely. That's what I start doing too, because like what happens is y'all wait till the last minute and then you're just like, I'm broke. And you spend the rest of the year digging yourself out of the hole that you just put yourself in. And then you go through that same cycle every year.
Oh yeah. I think last year I waited till like almost the 20th and I started buying a bunch of shit. I was like, I'm stupid. What am I doing?
I know. My Amazon cart is full of stuff right now. So it's like every week I'm like, I'll buy something and put it away.
Well, that's good. That I'll be looking on there for some deals too. I'm sure they're gonna have some, especially before Christmas. Like mainly for certain toys and shit is kind of what I go on there for like my youngest and like my son. He's more into like computers and games and shit, so I can give him money toward that. He's 16 now, so he can go get what he wants. And my middle daughter is gonna be 12. Like somewhat do that, but she's getting more into things. She wants a Dr. Pepper blanket for Christmas. Like, all right, guess she's really liking Dr. Pepper, so all right, cool.
Kids are weird.
Kids are funny.
It's like with my kids, like they're young enough now, well still that like they like something 1 minute and then the next they don't. So when I start doing my Christmas stuff, it's like the clothes, the blankets, things like that. And then once it gets closer, I'm like, seriously though, like, what do you want? So, yeah.
Oh yeah, and if you start asking them early too, like you said, it will change. What they want will change like way later.
When I was a kid, I would like.
Oh yeah, Colin's 16, yo.
Hey. Yeah. When I was a kid, like I remember like I'd write my letter to Santa or whatever, but like I would leave one thing out that I really, really wanted because I'm like, if he knows, he knows. And I never get it because I wouldn't tell anybody or anything. And it was like my own personal secret. And I'm like, why am I always getting gypped, man?
You're already working the game. You already know.
I know.
Oh my God. There was one. I don't think she heard it though, but Bree was watching some YouTube video. It's like a younger creator, is like this funny one, but it's like in the background. I heard her say that it's like finding out Santa Claus isn't real. She didn't hear it, but I was like,
I know. I do the same thing, like, because my kid's 7. So when like stuff like that happens, I'm always like, did he hear? He didn't say anything. I just like pretend like it didn't happen.
Right? Like, it's okay.
Yep.
But speaking of leading into not okay, we have a governor in New Mexico that seems to think that your rights don't fucking matter just because of some tragedy, which we can all understand. Yeah, tragedies are what they are. But whenever that starts happening, you can't start saying that people can't carry their guns or exercise their Second Amendment right just because you called a so-called health emergency over some shit. And what I also thought was funny, before we play this, we had some left-wingers saying that it was bullshit, and especially that Harry Sisson douchebag. He was saying there's no public health emergency that overrides the Constitution. Oh, yeah, bitch. I bet you were all about the shit during COVID times.
Yeah, here's the thing. So not only Harry Sisson, but Ted Lieu and David Hogg all said the same thing. So I'm like, oh, somebody got their marching orders.
Exactly. Here's the script. Go put all this out because we're paying you. So
it was almost like verbatim, like all three of their tweets. And it's just kind of like, it's election season. That's why. People remember.
Copy paste the same way the media does whenever they show those clips of every single station saying the same damn thing, a threat to our democracy, blah, blah. That's all they're doing is running scripts. But let's go ahead and listen to this tyrannical bitch. Thinks that, I'll go ahead and play it.
Yeah. But your point is valid. You took an oath to the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carrying license? With one exception, and that is if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech.
If I was that cop sitting next to her, I would have like blurted out loud, like, "What the fuck?"
I know. Well, look at those two guys. They're like, that one guy's looking at her like, "Bitch, what?"
Yeah, this guy, the guy on the left.
Yeah.
The guy on the right looks like he's just like, okay.
Picking his nose?
Yeah.
There are restrictions on my freedoms. In this emergency, this 11-year-old and all these parents who have lost all these children, they deserve my attention to have the debate about whether or not in an emergency we can create a safer environment. Because what about their constitutional rights? I took an oath to uphold those too. And if we ignore this growing problem without being bold, I've said to every other New Mexican, your rights are subrogated to theirs. And they are not, in my view. Wait a minute. Okay. You're talking about crimes. There are already laws against crimes. So
that didn't. Blood.
No. What that guy's saying is good. Like he's like, wait, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, there's already things about crimes. Like it's illegal for people to do this stuff. So what the fuck are you talking about? That's basically what he's saying right now.
Right.
How are their rights? I got it. But again, if I'm unsafe, who's standing up for that right? If this climate is so
the motherfucker next to you, the badge, bitch.
Somebody should do something. I'm doing as much as I know to do.
Madam Governor, do you really think that criminals are going to hear this message and not carry a gun in Albuquerque on the streets for 30 days?
No.
So what the fuck?
Here's what I do think. It's a pretty resounding message.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, so basically it's just honest to God, it's a PR stunt too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like,
well, somebody was
the thing, because this is what people will be screaming about. Like, you need to do something about guns. You need to do something about guns. And she said it. She's like, look, this is what I did. This is what I did. You guys are gonna say gun control, this, that. This is what I did.
Well, and there was somebody who said it. There's a couple of things that were said about it. One that I saw somebody say that it was almost like it was going to be a testing ground there to see what would happen, at least there, because you can't just do it nationwide. That would it would fucking cause chaos. So I can kind of see that, but she went full tyrannical instead of taking a little bit of steps and whatever else. So she ruined some of the left's gun control game, I think, by being too strong about it. Because by it happening there, it sent a ripple across the nation, being like, well, now what do you think is going to happen in other places?
Well, and her answering the question, which was a good question, because she didn't need to answer it, is like, do you think criminals are going to abide by your 30-day gun ban and they're not going to walk around with it? And she said no.
Right.
So then why is it that like all the times that like these different things are happening, it's always taking the rights away from the law abiding people and just, making law abiding citizens criminals?
Mm-hmm. Well, and she knows she won't get arrested too, because the FBI can go arrest her ass right now, but they are so corrupt that they're not going to.
And like I said before, I'm over people saying that, oh, well, the low-level FBI agents and all that other stuff are really good people. No, I'm over it. I'm done.
I'm over it. Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's not just the people at the top. No, I'm sorry.
And then I'll bring a little bit.
Something.
I'm going to bring in this article that can kind of piggyback off of this. most of us probably saw the video of this guy just getting spanked by a drag queen, right?
What? What is this?
Democrat mayor spanked by drag queen wants to destroy police prisons, claims Marxism is the real American dream. Yeah, the mayor
Like
of Burbank,
spanked how?
California.
Like a
What's that?
smackdown?
Oh
Or
no,
like literally
I'll try to find
spanked?
I'll try to find the video, but he was like, I forgot where it was, but he was like in front of children and shit, and like kind of bent over a fucking table, and this drag queen spanked him. Yeah, that's pretty damn fucked up.
Why are people thinking like this is okay?
And it's always I'm sorry, like all this weird shit like this, no matter what, it's always leftists for the most part. From what I see, it's fucked up. Like, and I'm not
We've
sticking
got
up for the
people on the
Republicans.
right and Christians do it. It's behind closed doors and with someone else's wife.
Right? They have the decency to fuck around there, okay?
Right.
But yeah, I need to try to find a video of that. We'll try to find that video of that. But let me read some of this. The mayor of Burbank, California, who recently made headlines for being spanked by a drag queen at a Democratic fundraiser, spoke to Fox News Digital about his abolitionist and Marxist ideology in an interview. Mayor Constantine Anthony is currently running for Los Angeles County Supervisor, where a big issue on the ballot is police reform. Anthony not only supports defunding police and restricting officers' use of force in hostile scenarios along with the other stringent measures, but also wants to work to create a future without police and prisons. Yeah, good luck with that, buddy. When asked, do you support abolishing police, he replied, yes, I'm a full abolitionist, meaning he supports a policeless state. I don't believe police have any effect on crime. The investigators of crime are poverty, mental health, or the instigators of crime are poverty, mental health, economic issues, drug addiction, the family or locale you live in, he said. Yeah, I mean, some of those are part of that, but if police didn't have any effect on crime, they probably would have been gone a long time ago, you know, like the 94 ban bill that didn't do anything, but whatever. I just don't get how these motherfuckers think that Marxism is going to be what's going to fix America and shit. Like
they don't think it's going to fix America. They don't want to fix America.
Well, they want to.
Okay, this is all right. I started reading. This is how I spent my weekend. I read the Communist Manifesto.
And by the end, you were like, how the fuck does anybody like this?
It was confusing because I was just like, wait, so you hate the bourgeois, but if the bourgeoisie is like, but we like the communist stuff and like we'll educate ourselves, they can become part of your movement, but you're basically using them as useful idiots. But then what happens to them afterwards? And it's just like, I don't know. You should see it. I was underlining, like putting things in the margins. I was like, I don't understand.
No, I have a copy. I've read it a few times. Yeah, it is. And like I've tried talking to a couple people, and one of them was definitely a Marxist and was saying that he's trying to talk about it without like government and whatever. Like that's not going to happen. People are not going to agree to communism and socialism without some sort of authoritarianism. Never going to happen.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing is that like basically from reading that, it's just like the people in the proletariat, which is like the working class, is like they'd rather have the working class people take over and form and it basically would form ipso facto bourgeoisie, but it's not because they're the proletariat. Like I was just like, wait, hold on.
Right.
So
and like
you want to replace that system with the same system, but just with your people.
Right. Yeah. And
almost.
And like, what do you think the bourgeoisie is going to give to the proletariat? No, it ain't going to happen. None of those motherfuckers give up their shit.
No. And like, and all they want is just for the state to control everything. But then who ends up being the state? Like, it's so, anyway.
All right, and go. The mayor said that he believes most people in the U.S. are Marxists. They just don't know it. Well, he's trying to like propagandize people into it. Well, okay. I ask people this all the time. I say, "Hey, do you work for somebody, or are you your own boss?" And most people say, "Well, yes, I work for somebody, but someday I would like to be my own boss." And I'm like, "Cool. You know who wanted everyone to be their own boss? Karl Marx." Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That is the stupidest shit I've ever fucking heard. Wow. I don't even feel I'm not even reading any more of that because I'm just gonna okay. So on from that.
It's so
Commie
annoying.
Gaslighting 101, yeah.
Yeah, man. These commies, like I honestly, and reading like actually reading the manifesto and everything, I was just like, so basically the central theme was going back to how it was in the olden days, but not having countries or towns, but then yet having a small town kind of feel because you want to outsource shit from other places. So I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
Especially in the modern
Someone educate me.
well, especially in the modern day world. It's that shit that well,
Right.
but that's like the whole push toward Agenda 2030. If you think about it, everything that's in Agenda 2030 is what they would be wanting to do for neo-communism or neo-socialism.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Oh, I wanted to get to so that guy. So the mayor was talking about how he wanted to defund the police, not use excessive force. Well, it's funny because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So the city of LA had to pay $300,000 to a protester who was shot in the groin by LAPD with a rubber bullet in 2020. So,
oh my god!
Basically, the city of Los Angeles set to pay a man $300,000 after oh my god, I can't spell. I can't think. I can't read.
I can't talk either.
Yeah, I can't. My brain shut down.
Right?
So they approving a settlement in a federal lawsuit that alleged that the LA Police Department's actions during protests in 2020 were excessive. His name is David Bond, filed the lawsuit after he was shot in the testicle by a rubber bullet at a protest in front of LA City Hall in May of 2020.
Well,
what's up with all these protesters from like 2020 being paid out and shit by all these cities?
Yeah, well, that's kind of fucked up and ironic whenever we have protesters from January 6th still sitting in a fucking jail cell. Yeah, exactly. Taxpayers of LA County have to pay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime you hear federal funding for anything, it's always our money. And like, and that's the funny thing with like the leftists and these Democrats or liberals, whatever else, they just think it's free money from the government. Like, no, bitch, that's our money. The government doesn't have money.
Yeah, but I think like they do know that. Like, a lot of people do know that, but they want to like.
They don't want to say it that way.
Right, because then the people that they've conned into thinking that they're doing good things for them, like to make them like still not understand like what's going on. That's, I don't know. It's bad.
It's a ploy to keep government control, pretty much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like whenever they keep saying that it's all free money, and yeah, well, it's just government control and it's our money. But I'm wondering how much that Grisham is going to be getting sued and shit by everybody around there.
I wonder. Whoopi was saying that he said the funny part is on Rumble. He's saying funny part is I'm going to that county where she banned it, and I'm gonna carry my AK on my chest. LOL. Well, What was great though is like seeing citizens from Albuquerque actually like
Yeah, they all showed up. I
stand
think
up,
it was
and
the next
they all
day,
showed up. Yeah, yeah,
which is good. That's exactly what they should have done.
absolutely. So,
And the most fucked up part in that too is where, we've already heard douchebags say no right is absolute. The foggy brain that's running our country, but she also said that she doesn't even think her oath is absolute. Like, what the fuck? That would be
yeah,
immediately gone, bitch. You
yeah.
that's pure like tyranny. It's sounding like you need to get the fuck out,
So basically, you're saying you can do whatever the fuck you want, right?
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I get it. Gotcha. I can, yeah.
Well, that's what I posted
I
on
don't
Twitter.
know
Is
why
like,
the people that were sitting right next to her just didn't straight up put her in cuffs right then and there.
oh, I know. Well, those are the agents of the state just doing their job. But that's what I posted on Twitter too. Whenever I saw that above it, I retweeted it with, well, if supposedly our rights and your oath isn't absolute, then neither are these subversive laws that get passed.
Right.
Why would we believe in those if you don't even believe in yourself or what the fuck you took an oath for?
Yeah.
I just want to put this one up real quick. This is, I've been talking about this shit in the military for a while, and here we go. It's going to be even worse. This will be the destruction of the military. Non-binary Army captain gets permission to wear women's uniform and makeup.
What?
Captain Jesse Noble, a committed churchgoer with a wife and kids, had what? No, that was definitely not part of it. Yeah, that's all it
Where'd it
says. It doesn't
go?
give. Yeah, that's all it gives me is that. But either, yeah, it had the weird dude on there. Oh, it's stupid. It's gonna, because it keeps fucking bringing the headlines
Oh,
down. This is a
yeah.
stupid one, but whatever. That it's happening. So just know that, and that's gonna keep fucking up the military. Because I'm sorry, the military is supposed to be the most fucking heinous, craziest shit you can be in. That's the point of it. They're supposed to be the toughest motherfuckers, and they're doing this shit. We look like a fucking laughing stock.
Yeah.
And that's why Putin was saying that shit about us, saying you guys
Yeah.
are
What happened to you guys?
Yeah, like they're trying to normalize pedophilia and all this other shit, and we look like a joke as a country.
It's really crazy how rapidly the decline has started to happen. Like it was happening slowly and subtly for a long time. Like
Right.
for a really long time. And then just 2016, 2015, just like it was just put on overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
That is just absurd. Like it's just it doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
Well, no, it definitely doesn't make any sense to anyone who's thinking normally. We just know it's like a push. It's gonna
Yeah.
be it's a constant push on. Well, I mean, I'll just be straight up. It's a push on demasculinization. They don't want manly
Yeah.
men in this country because they want us weak. They want to be able to take over this place. They want to kill our economy. And by doing everything they're doing with all of that is exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are
Well,
getting fucking, especially on TikTok, a lot of people are fucking sick of it. People are training all that shit. Like, I think masculinity is starting to make a fucking big comeback with all this push, actually, which is a good
well,
thing.
that's why they hated Andrew Tate so much. That's why they hated the 12 Rules by Jordan Peterson for guys. You know, like it's like what that it was that one dude that was like, make your bed every morning.
Yeah, that's Peterson. Yeah,
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, well, because it's the one for the androgyny, for the everyone to be on the same level, no differences, like that type of thing. Weird.
Which doesn't fit in here. That's the whole point of America, individualism.
Well, you know what else which is weird? What's going on out in the universe? No one knows. Is it flat? Is it round? I don't know.
Right?
But NASA is set to release to discuss unidentified anomalies phenomenon report. Oh my gosh, this can't. So it's supposed to, the report is supposed to come out on Thursday, the 14th of September, at the agency's headquarters in Washington to discuss the findings from an unidentified anomalous phenomena, a UAP, which is actually UFO phenomenon. When did they change it to UAP? It was like
A
in the
while
last
ago.
few years.
Yeah, yeah, I forgot what it was. It was during Trump's presidency, I think, is whenever they started doing that.
Well, an independent study team it commissioned in 2022. 30 minutes before the briefing, the agency will publish the team's full report online, which aims to inform NASA on what possible data could be collected in the future to shed light on the nature and origins of UAP. So
it's like I feel like I'm going back to that meme that I see. Like I kind of believed in aliens, and then the government said it was real, so now I'm like, I think it's us.
Sorry. I gotta say, someone said, "Well, what if like aliens are actually demons?" And I'm like, could be.
Yeah. Oh, UAP, sweet. Hurry, send $2 billion to Ukraine. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I am losing my voice as we go on, just so you know. I don't know what's going on. But that's all I had for that one. I just had a bunch of like little articles I just wanted to pull up because the headlines and stuff, and I was just like, what? Like this one. All right. So a French watchdog holds iPhone 12 sales over too high radiation. So Apple must stop selling its iPhone 12 model in France due to above threshold radiation levels. France's junior minister for digital economy told the newspaper La Parisienne in an interview published on Tuesday. France's radiation watchdog ANFR notified Apple of its decision to ban iPhone 12 sales after it had carried out tests which showed the smartphone's specific absorption rate, the SAR, was slightly higher than legally allowed. Apple didn't immediately respond for comment. A software update would be sufficient to fix the radiation issue linked to the phone. How, Sway?
Yeah, how does that... How, Sway?
How, Sway?
Yeah, I don't understand how it... The only way that would do something is if it brought down a certain level of power on something or something.
Yeah. It said Apple is expected to respond within 2 weeks, adding that if they fail to do so, I am prepared to order a recall on all iPhone 12s in circulation. That's crazy, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
They're going to be seeing a bunch of cancer over there.
People getting a bunch of butt cancer from all the times they put their phone in their back pocket.
I know, right? Like, yeah, I do that at work all fucking day because I'm listening to fucking podcasts and stuff all day.
Well, you know what I don't like either is for the people that have the necklaces and that holds their phone right in front of their heart.
Yeah.
And their chest. I'm like, ugh. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
I'm going to bring up this article, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, CIA tried to pay off analysts to bury findings that COVID lab leak was likely. Whistleblower. The Central Intelligence Agency offered to pay off analysts in order to bury their findings that COVID-19 most likely leaked from lab in Wuhan, China. New whistleblower testimony to Congress alleges. A senior level CIA officer told House committee leaders that his agency tried to pay off 6 analysts who found SARS-CoV-2 likely originated in a Wuhan lab. If they changed their position and said the virus jumped from animals to humans, according to a letter sent Tuesday to CIA Director William Burns. Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic Chairman Brad Winstrup from Ohio and Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence Chairman Mike Turner requested all documents, communications, and pay info from the CIA's COVID discovery team by September 26, which probably won't fucking happen because the CIA has done so much shit and they're still around.
I know. Well, I mean, anytime someone wanted to get rid of them, they just either killed them or didn't let them get elected.
According to the whistleblower at the end of its review, 6 of the 7 members of the team believed the intelligence and science were sufficient to make a low confidence assessment that COVID-19 originated from a laboratory in Wuhan, China, the House panel chairman wrote. Let's see, where's the rest? The 7th member of the team, who also happened to be the most senior, was the lone officer to believe COVID-19 originated through zoonosis. Oh, is that the animal to human thing? Okay. The whistleblower further contends that to come to the eventual public determination of uncertainty, the other 6 members were given a significant monetary incentive to change their position, they said, noting that the analysts were experienced officers with significant scientific expertise. Wenstrup and Turner also asked for documents and communications between CIA and other federal agencies, including the State Department, the FBI, Department of Health, Human Services, and Energy Department. What the fuck would the Energy Department have to? That's weird.
So the Energy Department is really. I think we need to do a deep dive on the Energy Department sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know much about them, but I wouldn't. What the fuck would they have anything to do with in any of this?
They have their hands in some really weird stuff.
In a separate letter, the House committee leaders identified former CIA Chief Operating Officer Andrew Makritis as having played a central role in the COVID investigation and asked him to sit for a transcribed interview. At CIA, we are committed to the highest standards. Yeah, I can't read that without laughing. We do not pay analysts to reach bullshit specific conclusions. Okay. CIA Director of Public Affairs Tammy Kupperman Thorpe told the Post in a statement, we take these allegations extremely seriously and are looking into them. We will keep our Congressional Oversight Committee appropriately informed. It's fucking bullshit. Yeah, and of course, Makritis did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The FBI was the first U.S. intelligence agency to conclude the COVID-19 pandemic most likely originated with a lab leak. In February, the Energy Department also concluded a lab leak was likely based on new intelligence. The U.S. intelligence community declassified its 10-page report on COVID origins in June, which found biosafety concerns and genetic engineering taking place at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, but most of its agencies assesses that SARS-CoV-2 was not genetically engineered. Several scientists at the Wuhan lab also became sick in the fall of 2019 with symptoms consistent but not diagnostic of, oh, Jesus Christ, of COVID-19. It's so many runaround doubles, like back and forth shit. The CIA and the other intelligence agency remain unable to determine the precise origin of the COVID-19 pandemic, as both hypotheses rely on significant assumptions or face challenges with conflicting reporting, it says.
Can I interject real quick? Because I actually, it's funny that it actually kind of coincides with what we're talking about in this, but I didn't realize that the animal origin was still like the bat soup was still like the narrative. Like, is that still where it came from? Like, is that what the official report says? Like, lab leak is just as a conspiracy theory still? Like,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Well, like, so they're. Oh, go ahead.
So what do you? Yeah, I heard something about North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and you said funded everything. I heard something about that a while ago.
Yeah, there was something I have to find. There was a video on Telegram about that. I gotta find it. But so they're talking about like genetic engineering and like Wuhan and stuff like that, and they're trying to like make it off like that the Wuhan lab, like, I don't know. From my perspective, it makes me feel like they're making it out that the Wuhan lab isn't doing any type of those things, right?
Right.
So
Well,
what's
that's
funny
like
is
definitely what Fauci is trying to make it sound like.
right. Well, 3 days ago, this is an article that came out that Chinese scientists report gene editing tool that's better than CRISPR, which is the US version of a gene editing tool.
Right.
So I thought it was just interesting because we know this stuff is happening. Like, I'm sure that they've cloned people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no doubt in my mind it's happened. But yeah. So created using a protein-based approach. Protein-based. So like a spike protein based?
Right.
There, yeah.
Protein-based approach. Oh, hold on. Yeah, that relies on a protein signal to carry the editor inside, foregoing the requirement for guide RNA. Basically the same yeah.
Yeah. So I just thought I just wanted to bring it up. I didn't really like go through it. I just heard it and if you want to look into it, there you go. Yeah, I gotta.
Why do they gotta keep fucking with humanity? Stop playing God.
Because scientists are actually really weird.
Yeah.
Like fucking around with shit. Like chimeras. Remember when like people are like, oh, chimeras aren't a thing, and then you hear about like mice that can glow in the dark. Or like or like using
or growing an ear on the back of a mouse and shit.
Right. Like growing a human ear on the back of a mouse, and you're like, like I'm thinking man, bear, pig is a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% believe that cloning has at least happened before. I don't think that there's no way it hasn't.
Were you there when I was explaining was it the Rail Society?
Yeah, kind of.
RAEL Society, and how like they were talking about back in, I think it was like the early 2000s, that they had actually cloned 3 people. It was like 2 girls and a boy. And
okay, yeah, I do remember. Okay, yeah.
And it was what I can't remember what it was. Clone Aid, CLONE aid AID. It was what it was called. And I found and I was like, what is this? And they were like running out of the Bahamas, and one of the doctors that they had used in all of this that people were talking about, I found her. She's doing a practice in Mexico now where it's all about stem cells for like rejuvenating like skin and joints and all this stuff. So I just thought it was, and she's still a really big part of the Rail Society, which is it's a smaller, like people would say, cult.
Right. But shit like that'd almost make you think like, well, stem cells are usually from like fetus stuff, like so
well, and then did you hear about like how you could actually use your own stem cells, like from like your butt tissue, from your hiney?
Really?
Yeah, it's like a thing. I heard David Knight, who used to be on InfoWars, he would talk about it all the time, and how they wouldn't let people keep their own to help them out later in life, and they just wanted to use like aborted fetuses.
Right. Well, yeah, because that's the moneymaker. That would be one of the main reasons, because they know how they're going to get the most amount of money by doing shit like that. But that's crazy. Be like, I took stem cells from my ass, shot it right in my knee. I'm good to go. Fucking yeah.
But it's not called stem cells. It's like something. It's different type of cells. But it's like cells. Has the same thing. Yeah.
Butt stuff.
How do I look? It always comes back to butt stuff. Like, oh, days. How do I look this up?
I don't know, to be honest. But stuff sells.
If I was gonna do that, I would like put it on there for everyone to see because I don't know what's gonna pop up.
Right? This could get weird.
Yeah, real quick. It could get real weird very, very quickly. Here, I'm gonna send you this article to go over. Well, I actually looked this up because I would really like to know what happened. So it would be
okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and bring in this article up now. This is this guy just can't he's going to be around forever. JP Morgan allegedly notified the government of $1 billion in suspicious transactions by Epstein. Epstein's entire business with JP Morgan and JP Morgan's entire business with Jeffrey Epstein was human trafficking. Human trafficking, a lawyer for the U.S. Virgin Islands said. Yeah, we know. I mean, it's pretty easy to see whenever you're moving that much money through banks and they aren't fucking doing anything to you. JP Morgan Chase allegedly informed the government of over $1 billion in transactions related to human trafficking by the late financier Jeffrey Epstein dating to 2003, a lawyer for the U.S. Virgin Islands said. So they were reporting it, but yet they kept doing business with them. That doesn't make any sense to me. The Wall Street giant reported the financial activity, which took place over 16 years of suspicious to the Treasury Department in 2019 after Epstein died by suicide. Bullshit. Mimi Lou, a lawyer for the U.S. Virgin Islands, said at a recent hearing in its lawsuit against the bank, according to a transcript of the public proceeding. Epstein's entire business with JP Morgan and JP Morgan's was human trafficking. The only reason that JP Morgan finally, after 16 years, reported the $1 billion in suspicious transactions for Jeffrey Epstein is because he was arrested and then he was dead. Yeah. Which is funny. ABC News is even fucking reporting like this. JP Morgan and the Treasury Department didn't immediately respond to requests for comment about their territories. Yeah, no shit. The allegation drew attention in oral arguments about whether the judge should issue a summary judgment against the bank before the case goes to trial, which is set to begin next month. Oh, so they're about to be okay. The territory is asking the judge to find the bank liable for enabling Epstein's sex trafficking enterprise. While he was a JP Morgan Chase client from 1998 to 2013, the bank's lawyer also asked that damages be determined at trial. The U.S. Virgin Islands sued JP Morgan Chase, the country's largest bank, last year and is seeking at least $190 million in damages. The bank has denied liability and said any association with Epstein was a mistake and we regret it. Oh, that's that. Yeah, that. Wow. Meanwhile, it has accused the territory of having a close relationship with Epstein. The territory has denied wrongdoing. JP Morgan Chase agreed to a $290 million settlement with Epstein victims in a similar lawsuit in June. Yeah, I remember that when that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, but over 20,000 unlawful sex acts. Damn.
How can a bank, though, be held liable for that? Like, unless the money manager had knowledge of what was going on.
That's what I was going to say. They have to have some sort of a solid thing, like that they did have knowledge of it, which is probably going to be pretty fucking hard to prove. But I mean, I don't know. They're like, how would you like see all that? Well, like it said, how would you see all that money going through and you keep doing business with them, but you didn't report shit until after he was arrested and dead?
Right. Covering some shit up. Well, it's because the guy that was handling his account, who used to work for Barclays after he left JP Morgan, don't remember the guy's name. It was like Jess Stanley, Just Stanley,
Okay.
Staley, Staly, Just Staley, I think it was. I think he has been brought into this lawsuit, and he lost his job at Barclays because of his connection with J.P. Morgan and Epstein, because like I said, he was in charge of Epstein's account. So maybe he knew what was going on, and because he was an employee of that company and he didn't say anything to anybody.
That then he would be the one to ask if like for any evidence or the connections between them. But you know, if he starts getting asked, he's probably gonna end up fucking Clinton. He'll be gone.
Oh yeah. It's about that time for a Clinton side somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Oh Lord. But
And I think one of the only other things really to talk about is oh yeah, Biden lying about being at ground zero after 9/11.
yeah.
That's all that motherfucker does.
I know. He Rudy Giuliani responded to that and he was like, resign. But I wanted to bring up because today they were talking about impeachment stuff. Kevin McCarthy came out and said, we will officially do an impeachment inquiry. And Matt Gaetz was like, oh, now?
Oh, now? Yeah. Just now?
Yeah.
Also, yesterday on September 11th, they released $6 billion. Was it through Iran? It's like a couple of countries, so it can't get sanctioned. And also some basically terrorists, like Iranian terrorists, are like releasing them trading and shit. Like, and you do that on 9/11 and your ass was in fucking Alaska all over you. This is like the most like we don't fucking care about you thing ever.
Oh yeah. Well, it's also the most like he's not really doing anything except for being a really bad like I guess voice of what's going on.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know, like a puppet. Like that's
absolutely.
what I meant.
Like, got Obama's hand up his ass.
It's bad. But so Matt Gaetz was on the floor today, and I just wanted to play like two things about like impeachment stuff if I can bring it up. But here we go.
Millions of dollars. We demand real oversight against this weaponized government. Just look at the bribery. If tens of millions of dollars flowing from foreign corrupt people into the bank accounts of the Biden family wasn't enough for actual impeachment, why were we even looking? Joe Biden deserves impeachment for converting the vice presidency into an ATM machine for virtually his entire family. We all see it. We all know it. Now, we demand.
So, I mean, he's not wrong. But
no,
he also had called out Kevin McCarthy and was like, dude, you're not in compliance with he's like, us 20 got you elected because we negotiated these things. We haven't had discussions on, the budget, on I don't know if it was term limits or something else.
Yeah, it was term limits too, and it was also like trying to work the tax deal, but that obviously wasn't going to fucking happen where they were talking about that. That's the whole thing. Like whenever they started putting them in and he even started passing anything, all of us said this is going to be nothing but political posturing. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah. And yeah. So I don't know. I haven't seen this, but I want to just play it and see what this guy's saying. Scott Perry.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I just ask, what actual evidence do you have as opposed to allegations to show to the American public that would merit an actual impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden and prove that today isn't just about some of you?
Oh, I don't know.
McCarthy for the sake of enacting political revenge.
This isn't about political revenge. We have the bank accounts. We can see, ma'am, you can see that the homes that the Bidens own can't be afforded on a congressional or Senate salary. You also understand that it's not normal for family members to receive millions of dollars from overseas interests. Those things aren't normal. That's not normal to have 20 companies. These things are not normal, and it alludes to not only just widespread corruption, but money laundering, if not influence peddling itself. And we also have the president, the vice president at the time, on record saying that the prosecutor was fired. Well, son of a bitch, the prosecutor was fired, right? Because the prosecutor was going after the company that his son was working on. That's what we have. If you can't see that, if you are that blind, look, I'll turn it over to the attorneys.
Oh, God, he's like,
it's because you don't report on it.
You're not, I don't think, reporting on it today.
I'm not sure how you know what the American people think, but here's what they might wonder.
Yeah,
I like that.
He's like, what?
Yeah, at first I thought he was gonna be like, "Are you fucking serious?" That's what
I know.
he was gonna say.
He had that face on too.
Yeah, he did. It's like there's so much, bitch. It's because you're not reporting on it. You're also willfully ignorant and just being blind and just no, that's nothing. Whatever. But then you want to go with all the shit against Trump. Like, and I'm still like, I don't think Trump's really guilty of a whole lot of it or whatever else. But if he is, put his ass in jail then, because I'm all about fucking actually having our system work. But yeah, we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and then you have, of course, you have Chuck Schumer out there being like, "This impeachment is a witch hunt."
Of course. Yeah.
Fucking, I can't like this. I don't know how people survive in like this arena and how they're not. I don't know.
I don't get how some of the
people don't off themselves very often in this position.
What I don't get is like how some of them just don't like
insane.
sometimes just quit and being like, our government is not the way it's supposed to be, like, or stand up in the middle of something. Like the one time when they were, I don't know who the guy was, but when they were arguing over McCarthy, and he's like, people are looking in the country now wondering why our government's doing what we're doing right now. This is the way our government's supposed to operate. We're supposed to be fucking going back and forth, delegating shit, debating stuff, not just fucking going along with the goddamn shit and pushing shit through.
Like just being another cog in the wheel.
Yeah.
Like, no. I don't know. But so I wanted to just go over real quick. This is from the Gateway Pundit that Owen Schroyer from InfoWars, what's his war? He has the show called War Room.
Yeah.
He was sentenced to 60 days in prison for speech crimes. The DOJ says that Schroyer helped create January 6th through his speech.
It's absolutely. This is
scary.
Yeah, it's absolute. That's absolute tyranny too. Whenever you start imprisoning people for speech, especially in America.
Absolutely. Yep. So it says InfoWars reporter and War Room host Owen Schroyer was sentenced to 60 days in prison. Owen stood outside the Capitol and warned Trump supporters not to go inside the U.S. Capitol. Yeah. Owen was frequently spoke out against the stolen 2020 election. DOJ prosecutors sought prison time against Owen for his speech. They wanted him to be in prison for 120 days. I think that's how much they wanted him. And they got him for 60.
Right. Yeah, but where's Ray Epps?
I know. Right? If that's the case, then why isn't Alex Jones going to jail?
Right.
If that's the case, where's Ali Alexander?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, and if that's the
bullshit.
case, then what about those two women that started like the whole what's it called? Oh my God, what was the campaign called? Stop the Steal.
Oh yeah.
You know, like what the fuck? So InfoWars host Owen Schroyer pled guilty in June to a single Class A misdemeanor of entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds on January 6th. So for trespassing, he's going to jail for 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
And basically using. So hold on. After nearly 2 years of fighting charges related to his presence outside the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, Owen made the decision to plead guilty to a lesser charge. Schroyer allowed the government to review his social media accounts, likely looking for any scrape of incriminating wrong, blah, blah, blah. Owen stood outside the Capitol. Owen and Alex Jones warned people about going inside the Capitol. They knew it was a setup. Instead of being awarded medals for their actions that day, they arrested him months later. The DOJ prosecutor sentenced Owen Schroyer to 120 days in prison. They want him prosecuted for speech crimes. And he says Mr. Schroyer renews his request for a sentence involving no incarceration. This is less than what the government has asked for. Mr. Schroyer suggests that such a sentence would promote respect for the law, in part by reminding the public and apparently the government that speech, even violent and what's that? I don't know, something speech is protected by the First Amendment. That message apparently needs reinforcing as we approach the 2024 election, according to Owen's memo.
Yeah, it is all protected by that's what's fucking bullshit. Like,
yeah, crazy. Yeah, I mean, they were saying that because he was bullhorning outside that day, like Democrats are pretending that they're commies, but they're not commies. They're tyrannical, and you get rid of get rid of the tyrants or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they were saying also his speech leading, like him talking about the stolen election prior to and after January 6th.
Then they better be fucking arresting everybody that said stuff about the fucking like, oh, this. Whew, that's fucking crazy.
I know. It's
our government. Everything's operating. Yeah, like this is the definition of tyranny. All this shit happening like this.
I mean, between you got the, like we talked about in the beginning, of the New Mexico governor, and then being like, fuck your 2A, you know, even though it's in the New Mexico Constitution itself and the U.S. Constitution, but they're gonna carry, you know. And then this is what happened to Owen Schroyer for just talking.
Fucked up.
And it wasn't it like left saying like, oh, your words are violence, but then yet you have all these people burning things down, throwing Molotov cocktails, you know, barricading police stations and trying to set them on fire.
Yep, that's not violence at all. That's fiery but mostly peaceful.
Right. You know, and then what happened was what was it? It was in May of 2020 when Trump was taken down to the bunker because they set the guard post on fire in front of the White House and stuff like that. And the news the next day was calling him a pooswa for, oh, what are you scared of, pussy, blah, blah, blah. And then making fun of him for taking a picture out of St. John's Church or whatever after they try to burn the church down. And be like, oh, I can't believe the force that they used against these peaceful people.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
So he could get a photo op. What?
Yeah, that's a super amount of propaganda. Just straight gaslighting.
Yeah.
And that's why all of them believed it, because they kept like it's all. Because all the media, even Fox, even at that time, they were more on the side of the Republicans, whatever else, but they were still fucking owned by like all these people that now we see where the money comes from, fucking like BlackRock and all that. So it's like no matter what, we're getting everybody who watches any of that news shit, you're getting fed bullshit. And I do think that's why, like, I like Tucker still quite. I'm glad he left Fox because I think he does a good job on shit. Whoever can like him can, whoever doesn't, whatever. I like him. I think he's trying to be as real as possible. I think that's why he got cut toward the end, because he was being as real as possible.
Tucker had a really good, I don't know where he was talking, but he was talking somewhere, and he was explaining why everyone hates Trump. I have to find it. Of course, I didn't save it.
Yeah, it happened.
Hold on. Let me see. I bookmark so much stuff because I'm like, oh, I have to save it for the show. And I either save it under like another account.
Oh my God, dude.
What the hell? Maybe it's under here. Hold on. Let me.
God damn, I had to mute
Oh, here it
fucking
is.
loud ass
Okay.
truck flying past my house. Fucking.
All right, here we go. It's 4 minutes long. Do you want to listen to it?
It's not.
Yeah. Woo. Oh, yeah,
Right.
I don't mind. We can.
Yeah, we'll listen to this and then we can sign off or whatever.
Yeah.
But so here is Tucker. I don't know where he was talking at, but the Blaze had put this out, and this is the journalist who's from Africa who always gets in trouble with
KJP. Yeah.
Yeah. She hates him.
Uh-huh.
It's funny.
That dude's
So,
I think that dude's pretty funny too.
Yeah. I think he like got kicked out of like the White House press corps for something.
Yeah,
But
because
anyway.
you kept trying to ask her like either hard questions or you would just ask her like just annoyed her or something with questions, and eventually she quit calling on him and like, yeah, they kicked him out.
Yeah. So all right, here we go.
It's a reason in the order. It's not just that it's nice to say what you think and that it's essential to human dignity to be able to express what you really believe, though that is true. You cannot be a full citizen if you can't say what you think. You are instead a slave. You are, If you're not allowed to say what you think, you are not a citizen, you are a slave. It's that simple. And you don't need physical shackles because you have them in your head already. So that is all true. But that's not why they're trying to control what you say. They're trying to control what you say because they know that if you say it, nothing will ever be the same. And this is exactly why they hate Trump. And it's not an endorsement of Trump, but it's just interesting since I've known, I've watched the whole Trump saga and I've had various feelings at various times. I've been incredibly frustrated by Trump because honestly, who couldn't be? And then other times I've been totally inspired and excited. But the whole time I'm watching Trump, I'm thinking to myself, the core question which no one ever asks, which is why do they hate him so much? Honestly, why do they hate Trump so much? It's the talking. It's the talking. It's not because Trump's program is so radical. Are you joking? If this were 1985, he'd be like a center-left liberal. It's not radical at all. That's fascism? Are you joking? No. No, it has nothing to do with what he does. It has everything to do with the fact that for whatever reason, his brain is not entirely controlled by the people in charge. And because he's not entirely controlled, well, first of all, it tells you that everybody else is entirely controlled.
Yeah.
If like Trump is the one they hate the most, like what did Trump do wrong? I mean, you can say, oh, well, he's orange or whatever. Okay, fine. But like, has he really committed a crime so severe that we should send him to prison for the rest of his life? That's insane. And half the Republicans in Washington, probably closer to about 95%, would be very psyched if he went to prison for the rest of his life. So why is that? I'll tell you exactly why. I know, because I've watched this really carefully from Washington for his entire term and then the subsequent 3 years. They hate Trump because they fear Trump. And they fear Trump not because of what he might do, but because what he might say. And at any moment, Trump might be autistic enough to tell the truth about what's actually happening. Whoa, wait, what's that? I was in DC when this started, and Trump had the greatest line I've ever heard. And no one even noticed it except me, because I spent my life in Washington, but he was having some debate, and somebody said something about NATO, which is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, post-war to prevent the Soviets from invading Western Europe. And Trump goes, what's the point of NATO? And I remember thinking, what a stupid question. What's the point of NATO? Everyone knows the point of NATO. It's to prevent the Soviets from invading Germany. But I was like, but there are no more Soviets. That ended in 1991. So what is the point of NATO? That's actually, then I was thinking to myself, because I had been living in DC, so I was captured by the groupthink that does capture you if you live in a place long enough. I remember my wife, who grew up outside Detroit, being like, why would anyone buy a Japanese car? That's insane. I mean, she just grew up here. To this day, she would never have a foreign car. Like, what? They can't really be better. You're a product of the world you live in. So I'd never thought of like, what's the point of NATO? And Trump said that. And I remember thinking, well, that's an entirely fair question. I'm sure there's a good answer. Anybody? No one can answer it. And instead they attacked him like he was Hitler. And I remember thinking, like, why are you mad at him for asking what turns out to be a totally legitimate question? And maybe you've got a good answer. What is it? Shut up. Oh, shut up. That's your answer? Really? And it was that kind of thing. And it was the fear that he might say one of 1,000 things that you're not allowed to say, which is pretty much everything at this point. And by the way, I'll stop at this and take your hostile questions. But if you want to know, and I'm being completely sincere, what's true, the true things are the things that you can't say. I cannot remember the last time someone in public life.
He's right.
I thought that was really interesting. So, of course, I bookmarked shit, but not that one.
Yeah, I agree with what he said on a whole lot of that. That has been the whole reason why most people have hated Trump. And that's the reason why one of the main reasons why I've only actually kept liking Trump. Yeah, he did he had some good policies, whatever else, but I like the fact that he just says what the fuck is on his mind, and he is an asshole sometimes. Cool.
Yeah.
Good. We need that sometimes.
And it's like when he called people out for not paying their fair share when it came to NATO.
Right.
And he's just
and that's a little like to me, if somebody asked me what's the point of NATO, I'd be like globalism, to keep all these countries paying the one thing. That's the whole reason for it anymore.
Right. Oh my God. Hilarious.
But yeah, on that note, I think that's about all we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
Let me throw on this outro music. Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to be trying to put up, we were talking about earlier, I'm doing 75 hard right now, if anybody's ever heard of it or not. Good program for getting healthy and all that other stuff. So I'm going to be not drinking and a lot more awake. I'll probably be an insomniac for a while. So I'm going to be trying to put up some more clips on our Instagram and whatnot. I might even just put clips up on Twitter also, besides what we have with these episodes. But I'm going to try to go on Instagram a little bit more, do stuff on there, and be trying to get more guests and stuff. So even on this episode on either YouTube or whatever, if you want to put in there who we should try to have on, try to talk to, all that type of stuff. And tomorrow we'll be having a guest on. You guys will be seeing him tomorrow. I'm not even going to say who it is yet, but yeah, we'll be having someone on tomorrow. And yeah, beyond that, give us some more suggestions and stuff, and anything like that. And yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, just come hang out and chill with us tomorrow. It'll be fun.
Hell yes. And fuck the moon, we're going to Uranus. Woo! Help y'all have a hell of a night. Where is this outro? Later. Love y'all.